artificial intelligence possibly replace human? It could, indeed. Except for one important aspect. In the transforming world, robots will keep on working the way they are programmed. And only a human is able to go beyond any algorithms. Only a human is able to find new opportunities or discoveries. Only a human is able to take charge of changing the world for the better. Halal is our choice to be responsible. Halal to business. H to B. Halal to consumer. H to C. Halal to government. H to G. Halal to you. Halal to the world. Be human. Discover new opportunities with Russia and Islamic world. KazanSummit.
Поприветствуем модератора пленарного заседания,
greet the moderator of the plenary, TIC World Chief Editor,
moderator of the plenary session, Editor-at-Large at TIC World, Yusuf Erin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Yusuf Erim, and I'm the Editor-at-Large of TRT World. This year, I not only have the pleasure of being invited as a guest to the 13th International Economic Summit between Russia and the Islamic world, KazanSummit 2022, but I also have the great honor of moderating the plenary session. The Russian Federation attaches great importance to strengthening multilateral relations with Muslim countries. We see matching views on a wide array of global development issues. As one of the dynamically developing constituent entities of the Federation, Tatarstan actively participates in building cultural and economic ties between Russia and Muslim countries. The Republic is interested in cooperating and deepening relations with Muslim communities in Europe, Asia, and Africa. This is clearly evident by the fact that despite negative trends in world trade in previous years, trade between the OIC countries and the Russian Federation continues to grow, and cultural and humanitarian ties are strengthening every year. In November 2021, the President of Tatarstan announced that Kazan was selected as the youth capital of OIC countries for 2022. Previous cities that have been granted youth capital status for the OIC include Istanbul, Turkey, Shiraz, Iran, Putrajaya, Malaysia, Fez, Morocco, and Doha, Qatar. The selection of Kazan as the OIC's youth capital shows the shared determination to further strengthen friendly relations on a mutual basis. I'd also like to emphasize that Tatarstan and its capital, the ancient city of Kazan, are shining examples of religious coexistence, cultural harmony, respect for tradition, and a combination of preserving history and embracing cutting-edge technology. And I think that this is definitely a recipe for success for any country's development. Kazan is a vivid example of how people of different nationalities and religions live peacefully in an atmosphere together in friendship and tolerance. Now, I want to move forward and begin to welcome our speakers for the plenary session. I want to begin by welcoming Chairman of Turkmenistan's Halk Maslakati of Milli Geneç, Gurbanguly Berdi Muhamedov. I want to welcome President of the Republic of Tatarstan and Chairman of the Group of Strategic Vision for Russia and the Islamic World, Rustam Minihanov. I want to welcome Minister of Economic Development for the Russian Federation, Maxim Reshetnikov. I want to welcome State Councilor of the Republic, of Tatarstan, Mintimir Shamiev. I want to welcome Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs for the Russian Federation, Mikhail Bogdanov. I want to welcome His Excellency Abdullah Ahmed Mohammed Al Salah, Undersecretary of Foreign Trade and Industry at the UAE Ministry of Economy. Also welcoming Osman Hussein Osman Al Dirdiri, Cabinet Affairs Minister in charge of the Republic of Sudan. Also welcoming the President of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the Russian Federation, Sergei Katrin. Ramazan Abdullativov, Permanent Representative of the Russian Federation to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Hasan Basri Kurt, President of the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Organization of Turkey. Director General, Chairman of the Board of Rosgeo, Chairman of the Russian Emirates Business Council, Sergei Gorkov, and Chairman of the World Halal Day, Mohammed Jinnah. Now, before we begin our panel, I would like to welcome the head of the Muslim Religious Board of the Republic of Tatarstan, Mufti of the Republic of Tatarstan, Sheikh Kamil Sami Gulin.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كلا والقمر والليل إذ أدبر والليل إذا أدبر والليل إذا دبر والليل إذ أدبر والصبح إذا أسفر إنها لإحدى الكبر نذيرا للبشر نذيرا للبشر لمن شاء منكم أن يتقدم أو يتأخر لمن شاء منكم أن يتقدم أو يتأخر لمن شاء منكم أن يتقدم أو يتأخر كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة إلا أصحاب اليمين في جنات يتساءلون في جنات يتساءلون عن المجرمين ما سلككم في سقر ما سلككم في سقر ما سلككم في سقر قالوا لم نك من المصلين ولم نك نطعم المسكين وكنا نخوض مع الخائضين وكنا نخوض مع الخائضين وكنا نكذب بيوم الدين وكنا نكذب بيوم الدين حتى أتانا اليقين حتى أتانا اليقين حتى أتانا اليقين صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you, Sheikh Kamil, for the spiritual and inspiring verses from the Quran. Now, I want to move forward with KazanSummit 2022. I'm very happy that everybody's here now. Today, this summit has brought together more than 5,000 participants from 65 countries from across the world and 59 regions throughout Russia. The summit program includes 100 sessions, all under the roof of one site in Kazan, the Republic of Tatarstan. With every passing year, Russia and its regions are strengthening relationships with the Muslim world. This is manifested not only in the economic realm, but in all spheres of human activity. If you haven't already noticed, the entire program of the Kazan Summit is built around one word: halal. The term halal isn't only used for food. Halal is a way of life. It's conscious and responsible consumption and creation. Our discussions will therefore be built around conscious and creative cooperation with businesses. This means halal to business, with the government, halal to government, and with the consumer, halal to consumer. And this shows that common values can create a new good for each of us. And halal to you, and for the world as a whole, halal to the world. We've received quite a lot of addresses to participants of the Kazan Summit 2022, and among them are greetings from Anton Kobyakov, advisor to the President of the Russian Federation, and address from Murat Kumpilov, head of the Republic of Adechia. Now, today, the Minister of Economic Development of the Russian Federation, Maxim Reshetnikov, is with us in the plenary session hall. Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, Mikhail Mishustin, asked Mr. Reshetnikov to voice his address to the Kazan Summit participants. Mr. Reshetnikov, please welcome.
Our dear guests, dear colleagues, and the chairman of the government, Mr. Mishustin, asked me to read address to all participants of the summit and his best wishes. And with your permission, I would like to read his address. Dear participants of the plenary meeting and the guests of the summit, I'm very glad to greet all of you here on the 13th International Economic Summit, Russia Islamic World. And during its existence, forum has gained authority and international recognition. And nowadays, we have gathered again here in the capital of Tatarstan representatives of the government authorities, financial institutions, leaders of the Russian and foreign business. And Russia and Islamic countries are connected with the firm ties of friendship and deep respect. We are developing very productively our cooperation in scientific, humanitarian, and economic spheres. We put into life, into reality, big joint projects. Forum Russia Islamic World, it's a unique possibility to give an additional impulse to our multi-level cooperation and to extend and disseminate our exchange of the best experiences and practices, to establish new business contacts, to sign new contracts, and to present investment projects of the different countries and regions. And for the participants of the today's summit, we have a very intensive and busy schedule which covers a lot of issues of the Islamic finance issues, halal industry, and the development of the export, entrepreneurship, and the mechanisms of the investment attraction. And the special attention will be paid for this very special date, 1100 years of the acceptance of Islam of Volska, Bulgaria. This is a paramount event of the paramount importance for the Russia and all Islamic world, and I am sure that the 13th International Economic Summit will help us to strengthen economic ties with the Russia and Islamic world. It will strengthen the mutual understanding between our countries and nations. I wish you very successful work, and I hope you'll enjoy the stay in Kazan. Mikhail Mishustin, the chairman of the government of the Russian Federation. Dear colleagues, and just a little more from myself personally. Dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank Rustam Minikhanov and the whole his team for the hospitality and the organization of this summit. During the 13 years, the summit has become a key place and a platform for the interaction between Russia and Islamic world. Here we discuss the most important questions, most important issues, and we get our views closer to each other. We gain mutual understanding. This kind of a partnership is very important for us. The global economy came across new challenges, and the supply chains and we have a lot of problems in our national economies, and the situation is aggravated by the sanctions imposed on Russia. Originally, these sanctions aimed at undermining the Russian economy, but actually these sanctions imposed on Russia destroy global economy, increase prices, decrease the living standards in many countries of the world. In our country has been living with these sanctions for a long time. Internal market and external economic relationship, we try to adapt accordingly, and nowadays Russian economy demonstrating its stability once again. The situations on the financial and economic markets has stabilized. We avoided explosion of the unemployment. We stopped our inflation. And we see in the May of 2022, we see that our inflation decreased to 2.8%. And we also decreased the central bank rate. We use special government programs which help to credit and help our people, and we also strengthen the national currency. Of course, we need to be stronger to keep transforming our economy and to help its growth. We have accumulated economic potential and investments. We have our national economic reserve, and we are ready to continue projects which we already have, and we are ready to launch new projects, and we see vast and promising prospects for development of the Islamic countries. In modern world, the role of Islamic countries is growing continuously, and Islamic economy is about $3.6 trillion of US dollars, and the fact that these Islamic countries are mostly independent internationally, it allows us to see the Islamic countries as reliable strategic partners, and we are ready to develop a partnership relationship as bilateral and also working together with the OIC countries, and we already have the foundation for such cooperation. For the last 3 years, the turnover with the OIC countries has increased on 25%. And it's just the high time to develop new projects, to use new possibilities and new first of all, it's logistics projects to creation of the international transportation corridor north-south. It'll help us to work together with the Caspian Basin countries. And one of the examples of using the infrastructure of the north-south corridor is Agro Express project, and the further development of the integrated logistics hubs help us to intensify this exchange with goods and to increase the output of the agricultural products. We have been working for a long time with Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and we plan to expand the geography of these projects and work together with our representatives of Turkmenistan. We have more examples like that. In the Russian market, we now have new niches which can be occupied by Islamic countries, and in Russia, we lift the limitations on import, and together with our partners of the Eurasia Economic Society, we absolved more than 1,300 different goods from the import taxes, and we accelerated the certification procedures. We simplified custom clearance, and we lift the barriers for international exchange. And we propose to develop our cooperation in the IT sector, agriculture, in the green energy, nuclear energy, and of course in all kinds of industries. Russian business participates in more than 100 big projects in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, and Egypt. And in its turn, 14 residents from 7 Islamic countries appreciated work in the special economic zones in Russia, and we believe that further development of the joint projects on the industrial zones and technoparks as a very prospective directions. And I would like to dwell on agriculture a little bit more. Last year, in spite of the global decrease of the food supply in the international markets, Russia became the biggest exporter of crops and grain. We exported 130 million tons, mostly in South Asia, Turkey, and Egypt. We have been and we are the reliable supplier of agricultural products. We increased the export of the wheat to many countries. We export halal products to Saudi Arabia, to Oman, to Egypt, to United Arab Emirates, and we see a lot of promising directions in this area, and we are organizing a unified certification system according to halal standards. And to increase our cooperation, we propose you to consider possibilities to organize the food hubs in United Arab Emirates and in Saudi Arabia, in Malaysia and in Singapore. Russia is interested in attracting foreign investments. Islamic countries have been investors into our economy for a long time. We're talking about Kazakhstan, Turkey, the Gulf countries, and we really value your trust and friendship with us. And dear colleagues, our country is a responsible partner, and we conduct this responsible policy inside of our country. We protect the property rights for all companies, all businesses. We stick to the principles of the marketing economy, and Russia is, as usual, open for the economic cooperation. We have 20 million Muslim people in our countries. Well, sanctions comes and go, but economic cooperation, which we have been developing for decades, first of all, answer the interests of our business and our people. These are our guiding principles when we make important relations for the future, now and forever. And I wish you all the best in the work on this summit. Thank you very much. Dear Minister, thank you very much for your...
In the presentium of the plenary session, our honorable guest, Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, Chairman of the Turkmenistan Halk Maslakati of Milli Gengeş. İyi misiniz? Nasılsınız? Çok özledim sizi. Çok uzun zaman oldu. Sahne sizin efendim.
Dear Rustam Minakhanov, dear Presidium, dear participants, well, first of all, let me thank you for the invitation to be here on these festive events, for accepting Islam in Volskaya, Bulgaria. Dear friends, dear participants of International Economic Forum, Russia, Islamic world, it's a great example and indicator of the strengthening and relationship of the friendship and understanding between Russia and countries of the Islamic world. And Tatarstan, of course, plays a very important role, and Tatarstan traditionally has been an initiator and a conductor of many projects in the area of the development of the international cooperation and economic area, investment area, humanitarian spheres as well. And of course, this mission is very important nowadays. It aims to preserving the foundation on which we have been working together for a long time, in which we develop our cooperation between Russia and Islam, on which we shape up our views and spiritual understanding between Russia and Islamic countries. And this contribution of Tatarstan is, of course, in the concept of part of the concept of the development of the intergovernment relationship based on our historical ties. And of course, Tatarstan has a very special place in our strategic partnership. Our relationship have a strategic nature, and we enrich each other through these relations. They're very stable. And of course, this kind of cooperation answers our strategic interests. During the recent years, the relationship between Turkmenistan and the Republic of Tatarstan have developed even further with a new impulse, which puts us on a new level. We develop our partnership in economic and investment areas, and I would especially put additional stress to such big companies in Tatarstan as Kamaz, Tatneft, and Kazan helicopters plant, Kazan shipyards, Akbar's company, and some others. And of course, these projects work very well in Turkmenistan, and our country intends to continue this kind of cooperation, which is and has always been very beneficial for both of us. We work a lot in the area of shipbuilding and some other technological areas, and I have to say that economic reforms in Turkmenistan presuppose diversification of the government and creating new areas, and especially export-oriented products in a wide range of different areas. And of course, we have a lot of possibilities for partnership in the area of machine building and oil processing, oil production in petrochemical industry, where Turkmenistan and Tatarstan have very serious potential.
We can, of course, be having successful interaction in also agrarian, in food production and processing industries, in science, healthcare, and sports. We believe special accent should be given to collaboration in high-tech, science-intensive industries. And for Turkmenistan, these are priority dimensions today. So we would, of course, want to strengthen our cooperation with Tatarstanian partners, keeping in mind the powerful scientific as well as production potential. Obviously, our collaboration in aspects of education are related thereto, for example, training of highly qualified staff. For many years, we have been sending our youth to study in Tatarstan, and some 5,000 students from Turkmenistan are studying here in higher educational establishments of the Republic. We are, of course, intending to be increasing the number of students to be sent to universities of Tatarstan, as well as widening the spectrum of their specialization in training, stressing the training of specialists in modern, especially high-tech areas. And we are very happy to see proper development of our relationships also in the area of, say, history science, in the aspects of studying very rich cultural heritage of true brotherly nations. We are having archaeological, ethnographic works, publications, so scholars as well as various institutions are taking part in scientific as well as cultural institutions that are being held both in Turkmenistan and in Tatarstan. We would continue interacting with Tatarstan actively, obviously widening this space of collaboration. And I'm confident this is in line with the mutual benefit principle of relationships between our country and, of course, the Russian Federation. Dear participants, today, here, in the capital of the Republic of Tatarstan, we are making together another important step for reviving the development of historic relationships between the peoples of Russia as well as those of Islamic countries, the widening and strengthening of economic, trade, and humanitarian partnership. And Turkmenistan is ready to be contributing into strengthening this process, making our own contribution as well as promoting the development of new multilateral interaction formats. The destinies of our people have always been intertwined in this path, and Turkmenistan is clearly seeing its future in the friendship and collaboration and the mutual understanding with the Russian Federation and the countries of the Islamic world. Dear participants, I would, of course, want to pass to multi-ethnic people of Russia the wishes of greatest successes in the constructive work, the peace, well-being. Thank you very much for the attention of yours.
Thank you for your comments. Now, the plenary session is attended by 28 extraordinary and plenipotentiary ambassadors. The role of international cooperation cannot be overestimated. To read out the greetings from the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, to participants of the annual meeting of the Group of Strategic Vision between Russia and the Islamic world and the 13th International Economic Summit between Russia and the Islamic world, KazanSummit 2022, we invite His Excellency Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Mikhail Bogdanov. Sir, the rostrum is yours.
Уважаемый Рустам Нургалиевич.
Dear Rustam Minnikhanov, ladies and gentlemen, may I now deliver the welcoming address of the Minister of the Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, to the participants of another session of the Strategic Vision Group Russia-Islamic World and the 13th International Economic Summit Russia-Islamic World KazanSummit 2022. Happy to welcome the participants and the organizers of international forums that are taking place these days in the hospitable capital of Tatarstan. Kazan, for many years, is serving as a platform for the dialogue of politicians, businessmen, experts from Russia and OIC member countries. This year, the events are dedicated to an important date of 1100th anniversary of adoption of Islam in Volga, Bulgaria. It's a wonderful opportunity to take a look at the state and the prospects of relationships of Russia with the Islamic world through the prism of their multi-century history. It's nice that a lot is bringing us together. First of all, the dedication to the objectives of democratization of international life, as well as clear respect to the right of the people of the world to define their destiny. We are rejecting racist prejudices, the pretense to be exceptional, as well as any other dimensions of neo-colonial thinking. We are pleased to state the mutual interest of the Russian Federation and Muslim countries to promote mutually beneficial and equal relationships. Giving Kazan the status of youth capital of OIC is another strong confirmation of this. Wishing you successful work, fruitful contacts, and all the best. Sergei Lavrov. Thank you.
Minister, excuse me, my voice is back. Now, here with us also is His Excellency Sheikh Abdul Rahman bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Khalifa, President of the Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs, Kingdom of Bahrain. Your Excellency, please welcome for comments.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين.
In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, the words of thanks to the prayers to our Master Prophet Muhammad and his King, Your Excellency Mr. Rustam Minnikhanov, the President of the Republic of Tatarstan, ministers, ambassadors, muftis, sheikhs, brothers and sisters, peace, blessings of Allah be to you. I'm happy to be taking part together with you in the celebrations dedicated to 1100th anniversary of adoption of Islam by your kind country. And I would like to congratulate all of you with this beautiful, wonderful anniversary that is very dear to the heart of every Muslim. We are very happy to pass on our heartfelt greetings on behalf of His Majesty, the King of Bahrain, Hamad bin Isa bin Al Khalifa. May God, Allah, preserve him, and as well as the Al Khalifa, the Prince and the Chairman of the Council of Ministers, and may God preserve him. Their greetings on the occasion of this anniversary, this important date. We are expressing the deep gratitude to His Excellency President of Tatarstan for the kind invitation to take part in this wonderful event and for the kindness and hospitality that has been provided to us from the very first minutes of our presence in your wonderful land. Dear brothers, those who have studied the history know that my country, the Kingdom of Bahrain, has sincerely accepted Islam, having believed the message that was declared by our Prophet to the people of Bahrain on the 8th year of Hijrah, which is 630 common year. And since that day, We are very happy to see the way Islam is widely spreading throughout the world for centuries, and people are accepting it not with enforcement, but responding to the kind words that are touching the hearts of people. Obviously, the developing economic relationships between the residents of the Arabian Peninsula and other people of the world have been promoting this. All these historic facts are strengthening the beliefs of the values of our religion, the spread of which the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be on him, has dedicated his life to. He has been an example of perfect human that has brought the light and peace to people, has shown example of high morals, nobility, and the path that he has laid has been followed by the Sahabas and other followers. The Muslims have accepted the high moral values that have shined the light to all those around and are continuing increasing the kind deeds from generation to generation. We should be learning from the messenger this high morals, this exemplary behavior to demonstrate to whole of the world our permanently renewing civilization and not just giving in to various slogans and not to be following the concepts that have nothing to do with the real Islam. Dear those in attendance, this wonderful jubilee is reminding us the words of the messenger of God, may peace and blessings be with him, that has been said more than 14 centuries ago, when he said that the time will come when Islam will become as evident, as true as day and night, when Islam as day and night would be accompanying people everywhere around the world. This secret hadith has turned into the miracle that has materialized, because today we are seeing Muslims everywhere in all countries of the world, and Allah that knows the hidden has passed it on to people through his messengers, sending this in support of theirs. Those who are coming to Russia these days are proud and excited to see how Islam is spreading here, observing the civilizational, constructive role played by Muslims in your country. The people of Volga, Bulgaria, that have created powerful state in the basin of Volga in 10th and 13th centuries, has contributed greatly into the development of relationships between Russia and the Islamic world. And in conclusion, once again, I would like to congratulate everybody with this wonderful anniversary, and I pray to God Almighty to strengthen our faith, Islam, as well as peace and security. Truly, God is Almighty. Peace, blessings of Allah be with all of us.
Thank you very much. Please. His Excellency Abdullah Ahmed Mohammed Al-Saleh, Undersecretary of Foreign Trade and Industry at the United Arab Emirates Ministry of Economy. The floor is yours, Your Excellency.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank the government of Russian Federation, government of Tatarstan, and especially His Excellency, the President, Rustam Minakhanov, for his invitation to UAE government, and also for his efforts and tremendous work to make this conference very successful and attract delegations, participations from governments, private sector from around the world, with estimation of 75 countries participating in this forum and in the exhibition. It's wonderful to see this initiative from Tatarstan to bridge the relationship between Russia and the Muslim world. I'm happy to see participation from the region, from Russian Federation, strong presence obviously from Tatarstan, but also from other regions of Russia and around Russian Federation. So it's wonderful to see representatives from governments, from private sector, from experts, academia, to come together to discuss the cooperation, to discuss subjects related to one of the most important sector in the economy, and consider one of the engine for the growth of economies and markets, which is related to Islamic economy, and most or especially related to halal. Let me first to elaborate on the relationship between Russian Federation and the United Arab Emirates. We have witnessed a strong cooperation, and I'll give you one indicator that reflects the growth of cooperation between two countries, especially after 2018, where UAE announced with Russia, jointly announced the partnership, comprehensive partnership agreement. And last year, the trade figures between two countries reached $4.5 billion US, with the growth from the previous year 85%. So that reflects how strong relation in terms of trade, but also there are other numbers and figures represents the cooperation in investments, the flow of investments between two countries. And at the same time, I would like to give a credit to President Minakhanov for his engagement also and support for linking the relationship between UAE and the Russian Federation. We are gathering here to discuss a topic which is very important. It's about halal, and halal sector. It is very attractive for business, for the industry around the world. The spending on halal or the Islamic products around 6.5 trillion US, with the Muslims represents 1.9 billion of population around the world. That gives opportunity for companies, not only companies from the Arab or from Islamic countries, but even non-Muslim investors. They allocate a certain capitals to invest in Islamic products or halal products. I'll give you an example. Nestle, one of the largest producers of food around the world, they have a specialized product for halal, and they use halal as access to large number of consumers. And it covers not only halal product as a food, but also fashion, industry, cosmetics, tourism, financial sector, C&O, for example, Mark Spencer. If you go there, you will find a specific places for Islamic fashions. So there is a big trend because of the benefit, the profitability, and additional to that, it's not only Muslims who consume halal product. So in one hand, non-Muslims they produce, and on the other hand, non-Muslims also consume halal products. So there is a benefit, there is a growth in this market, and that's why we are gathered here. That's why we see the interest from representation from different countries to discuss how to cooperate, how to develop this concept, how to improve it, how to open new channels for trade, for cooperation, so halal products and Islamic economy became as a tool for cooperation between people and between countries, and bridging the cooperation between different countries. I'd like to stop to this point and thank you for listening and giving us opportunity to invite UAE with representation from government and private sector. We have a delegation from business community from different sectors. They are interested to cooperate with their counterpart from Tatarstan and other countries. Thank you very much.
Undersecretary Abdullah Ahmed Mohammed Al-Salah, thank you for your comments. Now, I want to give the floor to Osman Hussein Osman El-Dirdiri, Cabinet Affairs Minister in charge of the Republic of Sudan. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Bismillah, salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. His Excellency Rustum, President of the Republic of Tatarstan, and dear respected dignitaries, ministers, ambassadors, and ladies and gentlemen, and guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. It is my great pleasure to attend the 8th International Economic Summit, Russia Islamic World, organized today about Halal Day 2022 under the theme of transition, tradition, traction. I would like to express my deepest gratitude and thanks to those who have been exerting efforts in preparation to make this event possible. And my thanks extended to Russian Federation President, His Excellency Vladimir Putin, and His Excellency Rustem Minakov, the President of Kazakhstan, and all those participate in making this event possible. About my country, Sudan, Sudan enjoyed good relations with Russian Federation for a long time in many fields, political, economic, cultural, and other aspects of the relations. My country also, Sudan, is classified as one of the richest countries in terms of potentialities that consist of about 100 million hectares for fertile, arable land, a great storage of water resources of the River Nile, the greatest river in the world, and other sources of water by heavy rain and underground water. In terms of minerals, Sudan has got more than 32 minerals, including gold, silver, copper, iron, etc. The greatest animal wealth in the region form of millions of cows, camels, goats, horses, and many others here in Sudan. It is worth mentioning that Sudan, with its suitable geographical location in the Savannah region, has got wide natural pleasures that help in growing healthy animals. Sudan, as an Islamic country, pays great attention to the halal products and form a council under the direct supervision of the Minister of the Cabinet Affairs to apply halal policies that are extended from the Islam rules. Sudan, an open country, looks forward for operation and cooperation with all countries, including Russian Federation, and pays special consideration to Islamic countries. إنما المسلمون إخوة. Also, I would like to assure that we have designed legislation targeting encouragement of investment for these resources that I mentioned before. At last and not least, and to conclude, my best wishes is for the success and good organizing for this summit, and thanks for good reception and hospitality since we came here in Russia. Thank you a lot, and we see you again. Thank you.
Minister Al-Dirdiri, thank you for your comments. Our next speaker, President of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the Russian Federation, Sergei Katirin.
Would you like to speak from your chair, or would you like
to go to the podium?
Well, may I be the first one to speak from where I'm sitting? Well, I would like to say that we have a lot of representatives of the unit, business and entrepreneurial community, and we have more than 60 regions of the Russian Federation, and today we've gathered our colleagues from more than 50 regional chambers of trade and commerce. So it shows the interest of our community to halal industry, and if you consider it halal as a lifestyle, not just food, as it has been mentioned by one of our presenters, it's a broader spectrum of things. And first of all, it's consumer goods, it's Islamic banking, and many, many other things, tourism, and the list is long. And one more thing, what is so important topic, to produce and to consume halal can be done not just by Muslim, but it can be done by anybody in any country. And as I've said already, we have 20 million Muslims in our country. It's a huge potential for the halal industry here in our country. We have a lot of very good connections and partnership with our colleagues from the Islamic world. I have to say that out of 69 business councils which we have in our Chamber of Commerce, 20 of these councils are business councils and partnership connections with Islamic countries. And from the organizational viewpoint, we have a very solid foundation for this kind of work, and we already have partners. There are, of course, a number of issues and challenges for our entrepreneurial community, and we believe that we can solve them. Well, first of all, it's standards according to which halal products are produced. And in order to develop these standardization issues, so they have to adapt them according to the local realities and inform people about it. Second is halal certification centers. We have such center in the under the umbrella of the Council of Muftis of Russia, and it is recognized in the international arena. And for the Russian Federation, it's not enough. It's not enough for the scale of our economy. And we think that we have to do much more. We have to apply more efforts. We have to involve the government. And of course, we have to work together with the spiritual leaders, Muslim spiritual leaders, so that this kind of certification centers can satisfy all potential partners, not just exporters, but all who plan to produce halal products in our internal market. Well, there are some peculiarities and technicalities which we came across when we first started doing these things. Well, the matter is that when working according to halal standards, not always considered the same way in different countries. When, for example, when you go to Iran and you try to sell your products, well, they have Sunnis and Shiites, and they have different approaches to halal standards. There are different approaches from the government, even though who consider them as the same. Nevertheless, the requirement to the certification centers are different. But of course, we would like to help our business community to navigate in this area and help them how to work in this kind of halal business. One more important thing, which we have mentioned today already, Islamic finance. Well, this is a very serious resource which we have in financial banking, but their approaches are very different from what we have in our countries, like, for example, like in Russia. A lot of things which are financed by the banking system and through banking instruments and in our financial reports are not acceptable in Russia. Well, derivatives, for example, such things as derivatives, then alcohol, tobacco, weapons, and some other aspects which cannot be done in Islamic banking. But for us, these topics are interesting, especially in nowadays reality. And of course, access to this kind of resources, work with Islamic banking for us is very important. For example, 1 year ago, our business community asked our parliament to organize a working group. Well, not for the first time, but we believe this time will succeed. And this working group studies Islamic banking and studies the possibilities for creating legislation for Islamic banking in Russia, so that Russian business can work with Islamic banking in Russia and outside of Russia. So that is why we see a very serious future for this kind of thing. So we see the desire of our partners in the Chamber of Commerce, and I believe that we can do a lot in the nearest future. And I can say that during the last 10 years, direct financial investment have grown for 4 times in this area. So the future is very promising, and as all my colleagues, I would like to express my gratitude to our Tatar colleagues, to Tatar the Tatar Chamber of Commerce for their hospitality, for this wonderful forum, and for the opportunity to participate on this forum. Thank you very much.
History of the Russian Federation. Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker, Ramazan Abdullatifov, permanent representative of the Russian Federation to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation.
Dear President of the Republic of Tatarstan, dear Rustam Nurgalevich, dear Mitimer Sharipovich, dear ministers, deputies, ambassadors, dear Kurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, And let me greet all of you as from the representative office of the Russian Federation in Organization of Islamic Cooperation. And during all these years of our membership, we have reached a lot. It was the initiative of our President of Russian Federation, of Vladimir Putin, and this initiative showed the benefits of it for Russia and for all Islamic world. But let me come back to Kazan and let me express my respect, my admiration to Tatarstan and to Tatarstan's people, to the government of Tatarstan for what they've been doing so well during all these years, and working in the Republic of Tatarstan, and now I work in the OIC office, and I have been working with Tatarstan for more than 30 years, and I'm very proud of this very good and friendly relationship with Tatarstan. Mintimir Zaripovich, Shaimiev, Minikhanov, Muhammedshin, and during all these years, I've seen them in different situations, including very critical and challenging moments of the post-Soviet Union history, when many people almost went crazy because it was so difficult time. Well, it was a time when a lot of people betrayed their ideals. Very often, Shaimiev's team was worked like the tightrope walkers, risking everything, but at the same time maintaining a relationship with the Russian Federation. Shaimiev's team managed to show their choice when these times were very difficult for the Tatarstan people. And Tatarstan, in this not easy situation, managed to preserve its identity and managed to protect its values. After the 90s of the last century, Tatarstan was the lighthouse for the democracy, and Tatarstan showed that the federalism is the way to go for the Russia as a country. And in these new historical conditions, Tatarstan helped Russia to avoid Unitarian concepts, and under the leadership of President Putin, Tatarstan supported federalism and became the example of strengthening the multinational unity in its republic. And it's a very good example how different nationalities can peacefully coexist. And a huge role in this process was played by the Assembly of the Tatarstan peoples, whose chairman was Muhammedshin. He was elected according to the proposal of Mr. Shaimiev. And this year he will celebrate his 75th birthday, and I would like to say happy birthday to him. And most important, the Shaimiev's team didn't lose time, and they made a right choice, and they managed to define their priorities before they started solving minor issues, and they managed to keep safe their republic and its place in the Russian Federation.
Unfortunately, many in Russia went into details, seeing the trees and not noticing the forest. Thus, Tatarstan and Tatar people have preserved their identity, their traditional lifestyle, their faith, which is defining factor for the success of the people of Tatarstan and the Republic in the economic development, at the same time always smartly using their being part of Russia. On top of this, Tatars have managed throughout centuries build bridges between Islam and the Christian Orthodoxy. And when we are celebrating 1100th anniversary of adoption of Islam in Volga, Bulgaria, we have to stress this. Beginning from the even Derbent period at the end of the 7th century, when Islam came into the lands of the territory of the Russian Federation. When Volga, Bulgaria has formally adopted the Islam, it has served an important bridge. Tatars, if you take a look at the history, have traditionally been serving the Tsar of Russia, and throughout the history, Islam was strengthening the traditions of Tatar. From the 16th century, for 7 centuries, Tatars have been integrating with the Russian population, becoming parts of the elite, serving the army, Tatar regions, be it Volga, be it us in Dagestan, be it Northern Caucasus, be it those living in Siberia, managed to integrate with. If you take a look at the history of various famous families of the Russian nobles, you will see Tatars in many. For example, if you take a look at Minin Pozharsky's folk army that defended Russia against the Pole, be it in 1812 against Napoleon, and in 1813, as a sign of gratitude to Tatars, a praying home was organized there. Later, Orenburg Magometan Spiritual Boards was established formally. On top of that, Tatars have contributed greatly into the development of education, history, and culture, literature in Russia. So I believe that maybe it would become possible for the Russian parliament to consider, of course with the support of the muftis and Muslim community, and consider a question of the role of the Muslim community in the history of development of the Russian Federation. I believe it would be an important topic to bring up and to demonstrate it to the Muslim world as well. Well, nowadays, Tatarstan is continuing working on strengthening and advancing the great deeds of own predecessors. Thanks to the actions of first Shaimiev, now Minikhanov, Tatarstan became a flagship of Russia in the collaboration with Muslim countries. Strategic Vision Group that was established by Vladimir Putin under the leadership first Primakov and Shaimiev, nowadays the President of Tatarstan, Rustam Minikhanov. KazanSummit is playing, and KazanSummit are playing an important role in the strengthening the Islamic vector of the Russian foreign policy, and it's becoming an important factor even for us at the times when the support of Muslim countries will be important. General Secretariat of OIC, despite the active work of Western representatives, have formulated the Islamabad Declaration on a weighted assessment on a balanced assessment of the situation in Ukraine. On top of this, people in Islamic countries are strongly supporting Russia. So in this regard, on behalf of Muslims of Russia, I would like to thank the participants of KazanSummit for our friends and partners in Arab and wider Muslim countries. This is all the result of the great work of the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Sergei Lavrov, the responsible for this dimension, Mikhail Bogdanov, the very fact that we have managed to revive the Oriental Islamic dimension of Russia's foreign policy. And we are seeing great support, obviously, in this regard from the Russia Islamic World Strategic Vision Group, and the successful meeting in the Saudi Arabia that was chaired by Rustam Minnikhanov was an important impetus here. It has seen very positive feedback in Muslim community of both Russia as well as wider around the world. And once again, welcoming KazanSummit, Russia Islamic World, I would like to stress the fact that it has turned into the most attractive platform in modern world to discuss the collaboration between Russian Federation and Islamic world. So I'm very honored to be passing on the greetings of Secretary General. Here we are happy to be welcoming the presentation by the official representative of the Secretary General and be taking part at the hearing. I'm quite confident that KazanSummit has a great many still untapped resources, and through activation of our interaction on various fronts, economics, science, finance, culture, education, and other cultures. That way, the Organization for Islamic Cooperation, as well as the CESCO in there, and ComStack on the trade and commercial relationships, on this institution of the scientific collaboration. All these dimensions deserve intensive work. In particular, during this forum, we will be having a joint ComStack event on sci-tech collaboration together with Russian Patenting Organization. Obviously, it's very important to be engaging federal ministries and departments, entrepreneurial structures, at the Russian Federation as well as regional levels, and permanent representative office of Russian Federation at OIC would be ready to be supporting this interaction of Russia and Islamic world. When an old father was passing away, a story says, he has told the son, look, I want to see you to build homes in all cities of all countries. The father has died, and then the son goes, builds homes in one place and the other place. Then the crisis comes, and he goes then to wise men. Tell me, what did my father mean? I'm not finding enough resources to build homes everywhere. And the wise men have said, what your father said was, it's important to have friends, guests from various countries, because if you have friends, all of your friends have homes, right? And I believe that thanks to KazanSummit, over 5,000 people annually from almost 70 countries are getting, let's say, their homes and apartments in Kazan, because they are the friends of Tatarstan, and they're getting friends. I'm sometimes surprised by seeing the so-called patriots that are looking for enemies for their people. No, the true patriot of the people are looking for friends for their people. The team of Shaimiev, the team of Minnikhanov, throughout these years, is busy looking for friends for Tatarstan. Look, you can feel that you have at least one good friend.
Permanent representative to the OIC, Mr. Abdul Latifov. Now, our next speaker is the president of the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Organization from Turkey, president of the organization, Hasan Basri Kurt.
Çok teşekkür ederim. Tataristan Cumhuriyeti.
Thank you very much. Dear Mr. President of the Republic of Tatarstan, Rustam Minnikhanov, distinguished representatives of the OIC member countries, Dear ambassadors, ministers, ladies and gentlemen, on the occasion of the 13th International Summit of KazanSummit 2022, that is taking place this year, I'm very happy to be present in this friendly Republic of Tatarstan, take part in this summit and meet all of you. Welcome to everybody. First of all, I would like to express our gratitude to the President Rustam Minnikhanov, responsible representatives of OIC, the Agency of Investment Development of Republic of Tatarstan, as well as all other Tatar organizations, and everybody who have contributed into the organization of such an important event. A separate case for the importance for us is that the summit is taking place on the occasion of 1100th anniversary of adopting of Islam by Volga, Bulgaria. I know how important is Volga in the culture for the faith of Tatars and Muslims, how important it is, which is why I'm very happy and proud to be here on this occasion. Dear Mr. President, dear participants, KazanSummit 2022 will have a wide spectrum of sessions such as banks, finance, halal industry, conscious consumption, ICT, entrepreneurship, investment, diplomacy. It will serve as a very good platform for IC member countries to interact as well as to synthesize new ideas. Dear Mr. President, as president of KazGIP, the responsible organization in Turkey responsible for the development of small and medium entrepreneurship, it's a great honor for me to be present here on your kind invitation. KazGIP is ready to share its more than 30 years of experience of working and supporting small and medium enterprises in Turkey, with all the entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs and participants of the summit, in particular from the Republic of Tatarstan. The second day of the summit would be signing with the Foundation for the Support of the Entrepreneurship under the Ministry of Economy of the Republic of Tatarstan, protocol on cooperation that has specific actions. We understand this is the period of pandemic when the economy went through challenging times, and it's been with that impetus that we started understanding the importance of small and medium entrepreneurship in the economy of countries for the contribution to not just economic but also social stabilities. And we believe that on the questions of small and medium enterprises, participants from various countries could exchange their experience, their methods. Maybe we can learn something new, and I would propose that in this work we will touch on the topic. And I would like to use this opportunity to express our gratitude to all those contributing to organizing such a wonderful event. Respectfully,
Director General, Chairman of the Board of Rosgeo, Chairman of the Russian Emirati Business Council. The floor is yours, sir.
Dear Mr. President Minnikhanov, dear participants of the plenary, first of all, congratulations on the 13th International Economic Summit Russia Islamic World taking place in Kazan. I'm personally witnessing to the fact that annually it's bringing more participants from the state, business, public circles, companies, as well as countries. I will be speaking on behalf of the Business Council Russia Emirates. I fully support the words said by Mr. Shetnikov that sanctions are temporary, but friendships are forever. So Islamic world and Russia are having eternal links of friendship, and that sounds a wonderful example thereof, where different cultures are intertwined here, and Islam is actively taking part in the life of our country. Not that many countries are there around the world, and Russia is an interesting example of all countries of the world. Talking about economic relationships, I would like to support the words expressed by Deputy Minister for Economic Development of United Arab Emirates. Indeed, Russia-UAE relationships have reached a very, very notable max peak over $4.5 billion. That's almost 20% of the Russian turnover with other Arab nations. And if you take a question, what's next? I would say, thanks to a balanced position of the government of the UAE, we are seeing 5, maybe to 10 times increase of interest in relations, economic, trade relations between Russia and UAE. And this interest is obviously helping us in developing relations. So I believe $4.5 billion is obviously not the limit, and our relations will continue developing further. Russian Emirati Business Council is active participant, and I fully agree that, as Mr. Katerin said, that we are one of the best in relationships with other countries. We haven't stopped our work this year. Last year we had 5 large events, actively participated in the Expo, and we are now continuing our active work, and in the coming months we would first have our council meeting in Abu Dhabi dedicated to new technologies, inviting everybody to take part. Once again, we are seeing almost tenfold increase in the interest to various economic, technological, as well as cultural events. Well, I would clearly want to support the idea of Sergei Nikolaevich. The boom we are seeing today, I'm very, very happy to all Islamic world countries that they are very well balanced in looking into the development of relationships, looking into the future. It's very important to be developing our relationships, as developing new tools, because I guess that's what is possibly missing. There is great interest, but any crisis, any challenges are offering new opportunities. And we start seeing these opportunities, be it with UAE, with the Persian Gulf, as well as wider Islamic world countries. So in this sense, I guess the development of these tools are very, very important objective nowadays. There is support elements when registering companies, support in certification, as was mentioned today. Another important element would obviously be in developing finance. A lot has been said, and I guess Mr. President of Tatarstan Khan would support this. We have talked about the development of Islamic banking. I believe the time has come to make an important step in this dimension, and this would clearly be in support of developing our relationships, be it with UAE, be it with other countries of the Islamic world. I'd like to wish success to all of you, wonderful, great contacts, wonderful atmosphere, mood, and all the best. Thank you.
Sergei Gorkov, Director General, Chairman of the Board of Rosgeo, Chairman of the Russian Emirati Business Council. Thank you. Now, this year, Kazan is hosting World Halal Day, and I think who better to talk about World Halal Day than the Chairman of World Halal Day, Mohammed Jinnah. The floor is yours, sir.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear Honorable President, dignitaries, ministers, ambassadors, attendees, speakers, welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Earlier, our VIP guests, most of them has been talk about the halal industry value, the halal industry trillion-dollar market. I would like to give a little bit insight about the halal industry. What you have seen is true factors. We have grown $6.8 trillion, and every year it's been increasing 18 to 20% annual growth. During pandemic, still growing. That's the only industry is growing for 20% annually. There are a few things which I feel I wanted to convey the message to the audience and the decision makers on the floor who has been given the authority to take care of this industry in a bigger level. Halal, 3 decades we have been talking about meat-based product, halal, tayyiban, mechanical slaughter, stunning process. Now, Alhamdulillah, CIMIC has introduced the standards. You don't need to worry. You just take that standards, schemes, adapt in your country, execute it. Chapter close. You don't need to discuss. There is no platform to discuss further into the schemes and standards. Now, in that content, 6 trillion market, what Muslim country produced to $6.3 trillion? That is a big question here. How much the Muslim country, OIC country, contributing to $6.3 trillion market economy as of now? 2 billion Muslims, 1.83 billion, maybe in a records. We are consumers. We consume $6.8 trillion food, cosmetics, pharma, but we don't produce into the market. This is very important. Where, why do we have the strength? I give example. Singapore is a very small country, it's a very tiny dot in the map, one dot, red dot in the map. Every year, 22 million people visiting Singapore as a tourism. What is the success, what is the magic button Singapore has today? The branding fast food such as McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut, 100% halal certified. So the non-Muslim country believe halal is not the religious factor, it's also safety standard to eat. So in Singapore, 22 million people visiting every year because they believe the food is clean, hygiene, and they can consume because the logo has been assured, giving assurity to the public, whether it's a Muslim or non-Muslim. If you come to Singapore, 90% of the food production line halal certified. So that gives complete assurity to the consumer to ensure what food they are consuming and what service they are entertaining, they have been fully assured halal certified product. Recently, during 2020, in the pandemic, Singapore has introduced world first halal friendly cruise. Cruise means people go gambling, bars. We create a platform for Muslim to pray inside the cruise. First time in history, we did it. And now, because of cruise, the neighboring country, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, they come to Singapore to enjoy the cruise with halal-friendly tag. And we create halal-friendly medical, halal-friendly hospitals, halal-friendly medical tourism in India. During pandemic, we observe there are a lot of nutrition and nutrition-based products is required. Halal is a science. The Muslims, we are talking about only food, food-related product and meat. There is go beyond that level. Technology is most important. We need to build, Tatarstan is a halal hub in this region. What is required? If you build halal hub in the region, in Tatarstan, which we can connect all the manufacturer to get easy access to distribution. There are a lot of products that are available in the market, but we are not giving the platform them to get how to get the resources, how to get the sourcing of that product. In that factor, I think Tatarstan has a very good, significant place to connect the world from Muslim and non-Muslim country to produce halal certified product, not only by food, it can go beyond that level. I'll give you another example. It's been years people are talking about insulin. For diabetics patients, it's increasing 40% every year. Insulin is the only vaccine people is depend on it. But where the insulin resource, the raw material come from? Non-halal source. So the Muslims are thinking, in medicine, forget about it. Because Allah says in Quran, there are a lot of hadiths will be quoted. You can take medicine because we no need to worry about the medicine. But in my view, it's different. Why the Muslim scientist is not working on creating halal certified insulins? There is a demand. During pandemic, there are a lot of vaccines to be introduced, RMA, RNA. The scientists, we need to work on science, how to produce halal vaccines to the world. It's not only for Muslims, the halal vaccine should address to the mankind. Halal always working for the mankind. Halal is protecting for the mankind. Halal is protecting for the universe. So halal is the mechanism to connect universal value. It talks about fair trade, it talks about harmful chemical, it talks about easy to access and trade fair, better trade fair. So, in my opinion, Tatarstan has a very plenty of experience in the past, conducting seminars, summit, KazanSummit. In moving forward, we need to create incubation centers in Tatarstan with the scientists, global scientists, creating such a market which is non-addressing to the halal industry now. There are a lot of challenges, lot of opportunities, but the Muslim scientists, the non-Muslim scientists work together to produce halal segment not only for Muslim consumer with the entire mankind. This way, halal industry will grow into the 2030 and 2040. It's going to be a $10 trillion market where the Muslim young entrepreneurs, we need to create young entrepreneurs. So there are two segments I can say. Number one, certification and process. Number two, post-certification and connectivity. Today, Alhamdulillah, 120 countries, certification bodies there. In Russia, there are a lot of halal certification body. But are they unifying, producing all halal certified product, cosmetics, pharmaceutical, banking to the world? No. There is no halal hub in this world today. So my humble request to President to think about next year, we should start creating halal hub in Tatarstan to bring all the 70 to 80 country Muslims and non-Muslim to participate, plus sourcing the center of the halal and halal byproduct. Very importantly, halal segment, non-Muslim people are working towards the science. For example, Thailand, Australia, these are the country produce more halal-based certified product, but Muslim country, we are not into the standard till there is no proper laboratories to test majority of the halal certified product. GCC country have a great value. For example, they have a better dates, but we are only concentrating on selling the dates. In my opinion, we need to create date-based nutrition product, date-based fast food, date-based good product for the elder people, the young generation. So byproduct, it gives you value to create halal industry into the maximum level. So this 3 days conference, World Halal Day and KazanSummit, I want each and everyone to participate in more. Educate, halal is not for Muslim, halal is for the mankind. When it's halal certified, you are giving a surety to the common public, saying that this food is good for consume, and we need to work on the technology towards the technology development and product. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohammed Jinnah, Chairman of World Halal Day, for your comments. Now, before I invite our final guests, I just wanted to talk for a minute or two. How many people have been to Kazan for the first time this summit? Can you raise your hands? First time in Kazan, first time in Tatarstan? I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves, because I've really enjoyed myself. I've had 2-3 days to go around the country and go around the region and see Kazan, and it's really a beautiful city. The people of Kazan, people of Tatarstan, have been very, very warm, very, very cordial. I want to thank them for being part of this summit. They make this summit great. The geography, the people are what make this summit great, not just the speakers here. And Kazan is definitely an incredible location. And most of all, I want to thank the President, Rustam Minihanov, for hosting this event in Kazan. Thank you very much. And without further ado, last but not least, the President of the Republic of Tatarstan, Chairman of the Group of Strategic Vision between Russia and the Islamic world, Rustam Minihanov.
Dear Kurban Milgulevich, dear Maxim, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to greet all of you on the annual International Summit Russia Islamic World Kazan Summit 2022. Kazan accepting this forum and hosting this forum for the 13th time. And I would like to express my gratitude for the participation for our partners and honorable guests, representatives of business and foreign countries and from different regions of Russia and Tatarstan. I would like to thank our federal and regional authorities, to diplomats, spiritual leaders, public organizations, and of course to mass media. And these days in Russia, we celebrate a great event, 100 years of adopting Islam in Volsky Bulgaria. It was a very important event for the development of Russian state. The Islam became one of the leading religions of our country. Islam, which was adopted in 922 and supported by many nations in Russia, it's a great legacy of Russian Muslims, and which is very important for the whole Muslim world. We are very grateful to the President of Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, who supported the idea to make this event very important and put it on the Russian Federation level. We are very glad that this Kazan Summit is organized alongside with this celebration. It's a great opportunity for the guests of the summit to become part of these festivities and to share our joy of this great event and to feel the atmosphere of interconfessional and international harmony which we have here in Tatarstan and in our country. For more than 1,000 years in our land, we have been forming and developing a unique culture of interreligious dialogue and agreement. We have been building good friendly relationship. And we also practiced a very respectful approach to reaching our social, economic, and humanitarian goals in the development of our republic. Among key topics of this summit, we have Islamic finance, the partnership banking, halal industry, development of export, responsible consumption, entrepreneurship, creative diplomacy, industries, diplomacy, and other issues. And this event, we organize exhibition, Russia Halal Expo, the Halal World Day, the Machine Building Forum, and also International Forum of Chamber and Commerce. Of Commerce and Trade. Kazan Summit is an efficient economic instrument for the group of strategic planning Russia Islamic World, which I'm head of according to the order of President Putin. And our group works under the slogan of development of cooperation of Russian federations with countries of Organization for Islamic Cooperation. We're very happy that last year we had meeting of the group outside of Russia. We organized it in Saudi Arabia. And we are very grateful for His Royal Highness King of Saudi Arabia, Salman bin Abdul Aziz Saud, for creating this good conditions for this forum. And tomorrow we will have a meeting of our group in Kazan. And let me mention again that Kazan got the status of the youth capital of the OIC 2022, and under the aegis of which we planned a number of international events such as Kazan Global Summit with the participation of ministers for youth affairs, Festival of Modern Muslim Culture, Scientific Congress of the OIC countries, and other events. Nowadays, Islamic world represents a unique civilization with its own interests, with its own priorities in international policies, and Islamic economy is an integrated part of the world global economy. And nowadays we talked about it, how big this market is and how actively it develops. And of course, we have a lot of global challenges during several years. Of course, it caused some negative impact on Islamic economy, but nevertheless, we also restore our economic life, and we plan to increase halal demand on halal services. And an important area, of course, is halal area. And of course, we will discuss a lot of important issues of the joint consumption. In modern world, halal is a standard and a guarantee of the quality of goods and services. I have to say that halal industry, Russia halal export during our summit became twice bigger as it used to be, and now it occupies 10,000 square meters. And also this year, Kazan got a right to conduct the Global Day of Halal. A halal lifestyle agrees mostly with the behavior of people in everyday life who prefer organic and safe food. And for people, it's good for people who observe principles of social responsibility and ecological production. Russia, on the territory which we have 20 million Muslims, Russia has a huge future for halal industry. It's not on just food, but it's also tourism, medicine, fashion, IT technologies, and a lot of other aspects. And nowadays, halal production in Kazan is manufactured by more than 100 companies, and more than 20 of these companies are export-oriented. And in the country, we see the growth of interest to halal medicine and cosmetics, and we have a specialized medical centers for Muslim population. We have visitors from Kazan, from Moscow, and in our country also we have organizations which certify hotels and tour operators according to halal-friendly standard. Nowadays, halal is a lifestyle and it's an entire industry. According to the initiative which we talked about in our summit, we organize a technical committee for the standardization of halal services on the Federal Agency for Technical Regulation and Metrology. And that means that halal is recognized on the federal level. When we work on popularization of halal industry, we built our work on the program based on the special roadmap for development of the halal lifestyle, which increases the tourist traffic in Kazan. We work together with the halal standards. So we develop loyalty of halal people to Muslim clothes and promote its popularity. In Tatarstan, we created financial IT infrastructure according to Sharia standards. KazanSummit allows us to demonstrate vast possibilities of the Russian regions populated by Muslim people. And together with the Halal Industry Exhibition and Halal Expo, we have also some other projects, such as the virtual mosque and the first in Russia Muslim TV channel, Huzur Television. According to the results of the last summit, we initiated a number of other projects like Akbar's Bank Halal. We've been developing since 2019. We also developed Islamic contract Mubaraha for the real estate according to the standards of halal accounting, and which was approved by the Council of Ulems, Spiritual Department of Republic of Tatarstan. We issued a mobile application, Sahir Invest, which complies with the Islam standards and the blockchain ecosystem halal as well. And of course, we have our own Russian internet shop for Muslim goods, Al-Islam. Because of pandemic situation, our consumers had to go to new digital platforms in different sectors. And this tendency is continuing, and it promotes investment into IT technologies. And 2022 was announced years of digitization in our republic, and we prepared more than 120 projects in this area. As for the collaborative consumption economy, it's a very interesting global trend. We're talking about the changing the attitude of people to their assets and resources, development of platform and ecosystem, giving new impulse to sharing economy in post-pandemic times. Very important is to organize the state regulation to improve and streamline the legislation, tax legislation, and to foresee new projects and new problems coming. And in this year, it's important for us to continue our systematic work in legislation area, in regulating the financial instrument. We work on adaptation of financial organizations to new challenges. We plan to learn more about the experience in Islamic economies. We support Islamic standards. We plan to attract investments from Islamic countries and Muslim countries to Russian regions and develop further halal industry. Ladies and gentlemen, kaderli dostlar, in the conclusion of my presentation, I would like to thank all participants of this plenary meeting for their interesting presentations and their opinion, and to wish all participants of the summit a successful work and implementation of new joint projects. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
His Excellency President Rustam Minihanov, thank you very much. That was our last speaker, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to thank everyone for their participation. You're a lovely audience, and I want to thank our distinguished speakers for their meaningful and fruitful discussion that we were able to have here. This dialogue was very, very important. And before everyone leaves, I want them to know that there are other sessions here. There's a wonderful expo here. There is a beautiful city here. So I hope that you use your time very wisely and benefit from all KazanSummit has to offer, and all the city of Kazan and the region of Tataristan have to offer as well. And thank you for coming. The plenary session is now closed.